Chapter 15. By Thursday, Wendy has asked 7 girls to join our team. Each turned her down. Most said they were already on a team, and one said she wasn't doing it. Her dad was a doctor, and he wrote an excuse. Such a big project would cause her anxiety. On the bus, Wendy asks, "Did you come up with any ideas for our project?" Last night, she assigned me a task. Come up with at least 20 possibilities. Nothing good. I had only 3, and I knew she wouldn't like any of them. Unclean cafeteria tables, unclean desks, unclean doorknobs. That's okay, I've got some great ideas. What do you think of starting an all-girls school in Zambia? She asks, completely serious. I shrug. I wouldn't know how. I'm sure we could figure it out. She opens her notebook. But I have other ideas too. She read her list. Every suggestion is a huge project that would require a few $1 million and a team of experts. She wants to build a library in downtown Baltimore, or open a women's hospital in India, or run a search and rescue team that would rush to victims in tsunamis. Well, what do you think? She asks. I think we need something closer to home. My grandmother probably won't let me leave the country. Maybe we could collect aluminum cans and recycle them. Wendy makes a gagging sound. Picking up trash? Really? That's not original at all. I wasn't offering to pick up trash. Now I make a gagging sound. The only thing more unoriginal is helping puppies find homes. She falls back in the seat and takes out a pen. I wouldn't want to do that either. I don't even like puppies, except on calendars and coffee mugs. Animals are unpredictable, and they can't be wiped down with Clorox. She laughs. Don't worry, I'll come up with something perfect. And realistic, she shrugs. Wendy likes to think big, and she needs someone else to pull her back to earth. I'm her gravity. In math, Mr. Stoker starts class not with a review of the homework, like he always does, but with a lecture on math in the real world. And it's awesome. While he's talking, I imagine showing him my world. He'd love to see math and numbers this way, the way I do. In everything from the stars to building construction to ripples on the lake. Even water draining in the sink, I see circles and bisecting triangles that form equations in my brain. If only there was an easy way, like wearing special glasses. A lightning strike is too painful, and results aren't guaranteed. Engineering, science, finance, computer development, teaching, banking, these are all require mathematics. He leans forward on his stool. But so do government, art, writing, love. Love, Maddie asks. Yes. There's a mathematician named Hannah Fry. She's created an equation for finding your soulmate. Mr. Stoker does air quotes around soulmate. She used the optimal stopping theory. I know optimal stopping theory. It's the way to calculate the best time to do something, to figure out the best odds. It's usually used in finances or pricing, not romance. Say as an average adult, you date 20 people, and one of those 20 is your best fit for a spouse. Each time you date a person, you essentially must decide, do I marry this guy, do I marry this gal, or do I move on? The next person could be better, or he or she could be worse. Optimal stopping theory proposes this solution. Get it? We give Mr. Stoker a few pity laughs. He continues explaining by drawing a little stick men and women on the whiteboard. I don't mean to judge my classmates, but if I had to guess, I think Mr. Stoker's lesson goes over their heads. No thanks, Maddie says, and maybe she does get it. She's actually pretty smart. Evil, but smart. I'd rather try online dating than leave it up to this math theory. This is not a guarantee, but it is a way to maximize your success. With optimal stopping theory, you're 3 times more likely to pick your soulmate than if you were to randomly select one person from your field of 20 candidates. How romantic. Mr. Stoker continues talking about math as a basis of life, from cells to music. Numbers and patterns control our world and can make it better. Mathematics is even being used in the courtroom. With enough data from similar cases, a verdict can be determined with amazing accuracy. Maybe lawyers still will eventually be obsolete. My mom is a lawyer, Maddie calls out. I wouldn't say that around her. Mr. Stoker ignores the interruption. Now, these concepts are big and complicated. But I encourage you to remember the power of mathematics as you work on your service projects. Don't be afraid of numbers. Use them to compute your solutions. Look at the world as it is intended. He gives us the last 10 minutes of the period to work on our projects. Wendy drags her chair over to my desk. We need to use math, I say as she sits down. You want to save puppies and use math? Wendy asks. I never said anything about puppies. I shake my head. But yes, we definitely need to use math, and Mr. Stoker needs to be our faculty mentor. I have a math problem for you, she says. We are still a group of 2, and I think everybody already has a group. We look around the room. It's hard to tell whether everyone is already on a team. They could be working with someone in another class. I've already asked Peyton, Marjorie, Caitlin, Sarah, and Maddie, Wendy says. And since Wendy's not good at whispering, Maddie looks up from her cell phone, which she's playing with under her desk. She glares at us for even saying her name. You asked Maddie? Did you really think she'd want to be on my team? I'm sure Maddie would rather eat slugs than work with me. And I feel the same way. But I would never eat a slug. I don't even like shrimp. Wendy shrugs. I think she would have joined us if she hadn't already said yes to Daniela and Jasmine. They've started their project. I stare at Wendy to see if she's joking. She doesn't seem to be. I shake my head. Actually, I've asked everyone. She taps her fingers on the Clorox cleaned desk. It would have been easier if the teacher assigned the teams, like Mrs. Shields did in the social studies class for our Egypt project. But then I probably wouldn't have been with Wendy. Wendy puts her hands in the air and waves. Mr. Stoker over like he's a waiter. Yes, ladies? Mr. Stoker says when he gets to my desk. Will you be our mentor? I speak before Wendy does. He grins. I thought you'd never ask. What are you considering as a... Mr. Stoker, Wendy says. We can't find another team member. I have asked literally every person in the 7th grade, so I think it's only fair if Lucy and I are a team of 2. Is that okay? You've asked literally everyone? He says, yes. Mr. Stoker clears his throat. Excuse me, ladies and gentlemen, does everyone have a service project team? See, Wendy says right away. Everyone is. I need a team. Levi interrupts. He doesn't look up from the notebook he's doodling in. Great, you can join Lucy and Wendy. Mr. Stoker taps the project sheet that sits on my desk and add Levi's name. I hesitate. Levi's a cheater, and I still haven't gotten my revenge, other than not talking to him for 15 days. Mr. Stoker stands over me, waiting. I cave and write Levi's name in pencil. It can always be erased. Good luck, team, Mr. Stoker says, and then walks away to Ethan. You have to actually do some work if you want to be on our team, Wendy orders Levi. He shrugs, but says nothing. Do you have any ideas, she asks. Nope. He never looks up from his notebook. I guess it doesn't matter. There are only 2 minutes left in class, and Wendy will probably make all the decisions anyway.